The belly relax in between the thighs. Modify this however you need to feel okay here. See if you can get the tops of the feet on the floor. So if the toes are kind of crossing over each other, spread the feet apart just enough that the toes aren't stacking on top of each other. And then take a nice big inhale and fill up those ribs all the way down to the belly. And then on your exhale, pull the hips back. Inhale, relax, kind of shift forward a little bit, whatever feels natural. Take a big, big breath all the way down to that belly again. And on your exhale, gently pull back. One more time, shift forward just a little, just to let everything relax a little. Big inhale. And exhale, pull those hips back. All right, slowly lift up, shift on forward until you can get down to those elbows. Let's get those elbows right underneath the shoulders. You can keep the hands flat or you can interlace the fingers, whatever feels easier for you. And get those knees underneath the hips. Let's start with a little cow and cat here. All right, the next time you exhale, pause there, tuck on in, push away from the floor as you draw the tailbone towards the forehead. And then come back to neutral. Stretch that left leg out behind you. Square off the hip so that hip probably opened up a little bit. Bring it down. Draw the belly in. On the inhale, lift the leg up. And just reach through those toes. Push away from the floor. Only lift the head as high as feels good. And see how high you can lift that leg. Ooh, that's it. Kick. So just kind of kick that heel towards you. And then slowly squeeze in. And let's pause there. Push away from the floor again. Pull the knee and cheek together. And then pull the knee up into the chest. Stretch it out. Lift up, look up, lift up high. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze in, cheek and knee together and lift up into the chest. So this is working on our core a little bit. For those of us that are having low back stuff, core is the #1 thing you want to be working on when you've got back stuff going on, especially low back. Most of us have low back, right? Is strengthening up that core so those back muscles have some support so they're not doing all the work. All right, the next time you squeeze in, again, push away from the floor, cheek and knee together, pull that knee way up in, and then bring it down. Let's take a break before we do the other side. Inch those elbows back towards the knees and come into child's pose. Arms along the sides. Drop heavy. Oh, feel those shoulders melt. Feel those arms get really heavy. Think ragdoll in the arms. Soften the jaw. Adjust this however you need to be comfortable here. So you can just drop. Those knees need to be a little bit apart. That's okay. All right, let's roll it on up like we're coming out of ragdoll. Lift all the way up to those knees, those shins. And just take a peek down. Make sure those knees are right underneath you. If they're too close together, bring them out a little bit. If they're wide, bring them in just so they're underneath. We're not coming into full camel or anything. We don't need them perfect, but just want them underneath us. Tilt those hips back. So belly button to the wall behind you. So that pelvic tilt back. For my anatomy people, that posterior tilt, right? So squeeze your glutes a little bit. Squeeze those shoulder blades and elbows together and just lift the heart up. Okay, that's a little much. Gotta be careful with that one this morning. It's sacral, like it's in my sacral, which for my chakra people, what's that all about? Security, safety, right? I have no security issues right now at all, none. Core pulls you forward into tabletop. So for people who think there's nothing to that, I used to be one of them. Shift the hips from side to side. But I'm telling you, it's real. It's a thing. All right, let's come back to center. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Tuck those toes, lift those knees, downward facing dog. Pedal the feet, rock the hips, whatever feels good. Maybe if you got tight shoulders this morning, maybe rocking back and forth between plank and down dog. All right, let's press on back, stretch it on out, draw that belly in, push those hips to the wall behind you. Draw those heels down and shift forward, drop back down to those knees, and we'll come right down to the elbows. So we can do that other side. So adjust the hands however you had them on the other side. Push on up away from the floor. So push up through those armpits. Draw the belly in as you float that leg up. And then go ahead and lift that leg up as you look forward. Keep going. How high can you lift it without opening the hip? Kick and squeeze in. Pause. Pull the cheek and knee together and pull the knee up into the chest as you push away from the floor. Breathe. Inhale, stretch it out. Lift up, look up. Exhale, kick and squeeze. All right, the next time you squeeze in, pull that cheek and knee together, pull that knee into the chest, and bring it down. Inch those elbows back towards the knees again for our child's pose. Let it go. Feel those exhales help the arms and shoulders melt, soften the jaw, and just drop, drop, drop. Let go, let go, let go. All right, let's roll it on up again. Like we're coming out of ragdoll, lift on up to those knees. If you have blocks at home, grab those blocks. So we're gonna use them up on the tall side. And if you don't, you can do this. It's just for balance. It's just for a little extra balance. We're gonna kick that left foot forward. So we kind of wanna be, you know, a little bit further back than we would be for Anjaneyasana, but take a test and bend your knee so that when you bend your knee, your knee doesn't go too far, doesn't go past your ankle. Okay, so that we've got this room to kind of shift back and forth. All right, so let's get those blocks kind of right outside our hips. And we're just using them for balance. Okay, so same thing we just did in that kind of baby camel. Belly button to the spine. So scoop that tailbone forward and then just fingertips on the blocks for balance. And again, you don't need to use the blocks, just watch that left hip from lifting. So try and bring that left hip down, press into both feet. Go ahead and bring that right arm up if you can. Okay, if we can just reach up and pull the belly button and heart into the spine. If you want more, you can go back. So this is gonna be our inhale. So choose whether you're just gonna reach up and pull in, or if you're gonna do that and then go back. So that's gonna be our inhale. Our exhale is gonna be hinging forward. This is kind of where those blocks come in handy for balance. Okay, so inhale, sweep that right arm up, belly button to heart, pulls into the spine, and maybe you go back a little. Exhale, dive. Inhale. Belly button to heart, pull back. So don't just go into your back bend. Make sure you're pulling that belly button and heart into the spine before you go back. Just flowing back and forth, saying good morning to the front of the hip and the back, those hamstrings. All right, the next time you exhale, just pause there, just a gentle stretch. Our hamstrings are not warmed up for some crazy stretch, so just a gentle stretch there. All right, and let's scooch those blocks forward out of the way just for a minute and just shift forward and lay right down on that left thigh and start to drop into that right hip. So start to feel that right thigh, quadriceps sink towards the floor. So you're just laying, hanging out on that left thigh. And we don't even really need the hands, right? Fingertips are just wherever they end up. And just get heavy in the front of that hip. Just let the weight go there. All right, let's push the hips back a little bit so we can have some room to bring that right hand into center. Push away from the floor and swing that left arm open. Reach for the ceiling, so get nice and long here. And then slowly start to pull the shoulder open. The arm is coming along for the ride. But think about the shoulder opening more than the arm so that you're getting into that upper back. Breathe. I'm gonna need to turn the air on here. Why isn't it kicking on? It should be on. Come on back to center. Tuck those back toes under, lift the knee up. Bring that left hand, grab your block inside the foot. Should have grabbed the other one. So we're on the low side of that block. Open those toes and sink that heel down. So those right toes open and push away from your block and start to open to the right. And just bend that knee, see if you can get it back over the ankle. Might not, you might need to come higher up on that block. Okay, wrist is right underneath the shoulder, and then see if you can extend that right arm. Getting into the inner thigh a little bit. So that block is right up against the foot. That elbow is kind of touching the knee, give or take, or the arm is touching the knee. Power up your legs and slowly lift up. Let your arms come down. All right, let's find that warrior two stance. All right, and we're just gonna start playing with these hips a little bit to try and loosen up again, kind of the inner thighs, this whole hip region here. So we're gonna sink into the right hip. So just drop it down. Your knee's gonna collapse in a little bit. So watch that knee, especially if you have knee stuff, and then bring it back. Open up that knee, get it right where it belongs. And just kind of go back and forth. Maybe you can keep that knee in place and use that left hand to just kind of gently hold it, that inner thigh there, as you play with this hip. So this hip is kind of going, trying to go down as you push the knee open. So we can even just kind of coming in and out of it. It's this little mini movement just in that right hip. Just trying to loosen up that hip joint without putting pressure on the knee. All right, and let's go ahead and straighten that left leg. And now do the same thing on the left hip joint. So you're just lifting and dropping, lifting and dropping. Little micro movements. All right, let's take it into just a gentle Trikonasana. I usually don't do triangle until we're much further into the practice. Gentle one. Okay, so just listen to your body. Don't lean forward to get to the floor. Stay right over that thigh. Engage your core if you're going to extend the arms. And that's too much on my back this morning. So I'm going to bring my right arm behind the back and just use my left hand to support me on the shin as I gently open up, and lengthen from the hip to the crown. And then bend that knee, float up into your warrior two. Open the knee up, drop the shoulders down, reach out through the fingertips, gaze over those front fingertips. Keep that knee open, especially for you, Tony. It's really important. Or Jody. I don't know why I was thinking of Tony Kramer. One of our peeps. It's Jody. Townsend, I even know your last name. Open up that knee. Keep that knee kind of in line with the outside of the ankle. All right, and let's reverse. Just a gentle one, just a gentle flow, you guys, nothing crazy. You want to kind of come into this gentle side angle, this typical flow we are very familiar with, but make it kind of more about the torso. I'm not trying to get into crazy poses here. We're just starting to move the body in all sorts of directions, getting as many muscles involved in this as we can so that when we go and do our stretching, we're all warmed up. All right, let's float back into our warrior two and straighten that leg if it's not already. Flip to the side. Okay, hands to the hips. So turn those toes straight forward. Nice inhale here. Exhale, hinge. Keep your hands on your hips. Go as far as you can and then lift back up. So just in and out of it like we've been doing. So lifting up, inhale, exhale, hinge. Nice flat back. So as you hinge, you're literally just hinging at the hips. The only thing moving is your hips. That rotation of the hips. Your torso is just coming along for the ride. So you're actually not moving the torso hardly at all. You don't think of it that way, right? But if you think about it, it's just those hips making our torso drop towards the floor. All right, the next time you come down, go ahead and stay there. Use those blocks if you need them for underneath the hands. Get those hip joints in line with the ankle joints, give or take, so your butt's not pushing back past your heels. Those of you that can go deeper, feel free to explore. Again, we're just getting warmed up. If you want to do the shift from side to side to wake up the inner thighs a little more, feel free to do those side lunges if that feels good. Or just hang out in your forward bend. Maybe a little of both. All right, let's slowly rise on up. Scooch those feet on in a little bit. Stretch those arms out to a T into our 5-pointed star. Draw the belly in, get the legs strong. So push the knees back as you stand up tall. So we've got those nice firm legs. Draw the belly in, and there's that subtle little tuck of the tailbone. It's just kind of scooping underneath us a little bit. Right, nice inhale, reach out through the fingertips. Exhale, come on over to the left. Bring that right arm up and side bend. And just see where you can go with this. Drop that that left shoulder down as you reach through those right fingertips. Stay open, don't let that right shoulder roll forward. And just explore. Draw your belly in, use your core to lift you up back to our 5-pointed star. Inhale, get tall, get strong. Exhale, other side. So take your time exploring this side. Keep that breath going. Inhale, reach. Engage your core and lift on up back to our 5-pointed star. We'll go from side to side. So the center is our inhale. So inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, side bend either side. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, find your rhythm with the breath. Let the breath lead the movement. Vinyasa. So when we think of vinyasa, we think of like a bunch of sun salutations, right? But really, where that came from was this series of movements where we're connecting the breath and movement together. All right, so you want to end on the side you didn't start on, so the opposite side. So when you do that opposite side, we'll meet back at center. Inhale, lift that heart. And exhale, dive it down, widen those feet again. Walk those hands forward into wide-legged down dog. Hands will be on the floor. And again, find that place for your hands so that when you push your hips back, your hips don't go back past your heels. Okay, so you're gonna have to play around where those hands need to be based on how long they are. Draw the belly into the spine, look at the wall behind you, and push away from those hands. Squeeze the shoulder blades together just like we do in our regular down dog. Sink into the heels, see if you can get light in the toes. And bend the knees slightly, walk the hands towards you. And then, what side are you guys on? Those left toes need to spin forward, spin towards the front of your mat. Finding our low lunge, just enough to hop forward. When you're ready, spring it forward. Little space in between the feet. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, hinge. All the way up, nice big inhale. And exhale to the heart. Inhale up. Exhale, hinge, nice flat back. Pivot those hips. Bend those knees, step that left foot back to your low lunge. And go ahead and drop that knee down. So not the way we came into it, but the same thing, essentially, that we were doing before. Let that back foot rest down though, because I think we had it down on the other side. Okay, so just take a moment to get it set up like we were on the other side. So when you bend that knee, it doesn't go past the ankle. You've got that good motion back and forth. Make sure you're on railroad tracks. So the left knee's on one track, the right heel's on the other. Okay, belly button to heart, pull it to the spine. I lean on this side so bad. I need that block to help me not lean. It's gotta be weakness. Weakness in my psoas. All right, let's reach that left arm up. Okay, belly button to heart, pull it into the spine. So scoop that tailbone under. And just explore here to see where you're gonna go on your inhale. Maybe you're gonna go back a whole bunch. Maybe you're only gonna go back a little bit. Okay, so that's gonna be our inhale. And then release, exhale. So this is where the blocks come in handy, especially on that right side. So maybe you just have the block underneath that right hand. So inhale, and don't forget on the inhale, belly button to heart pulls into the spine before you go anywhere else. So we can really effectively get into that psoas. I should have taken Ellen's psoas class. She's got it online. I should go do it. Because I know she did a lot of special stuff for that psoas. It's an important muscle that attaches to our four or five lowest vertebrae in our low back. All right, the next time you exhale, hinge. So if it's weak, it's not supporting our spine properly. If it's tight, then it's pulling on our spine. So it's one of those key muscles. All right, let's shift it forward. Plant that left palm down right in the center and open up that arm. Before you go too far, push away from the floor, reach for the ceiling, get that length, and then pull open through the shoulder. So roll that right shoulder open. Imagine you're gonna touch that arm, those fingertips to the wall behind you. Breathe, notice. Nice inhale, exhale, slowly release. Grab that block for inside the foot. I'm just gonna flip around here. Okay, so we're bringing that block inside, lifting up that back knee, turning those toes out to the side. So we kind of have our warrior two stance in our legs. All right, and then open up, sink that left hip down a little bit, try and get that knee right over the ankle, and extend. Draw the belly in as you reach on up. So if you need the block higher, bring it higher. Getting a little more warmed up. This one might feel a little easier than the other side. Engage your core, strengthen up your legs, especially that right leg, and float on up to your warrior two. Let those arms rest down, and let's focus on those hips again for a moment here. All right, so open up that knee, that right knee. You want to feel that weight in the outside of that foot and sink in to that left hip. Try and drop the hip down. That knee's going to collapse in, so maybe hold it open so you don't have to worry about it. So you can really focus on lifting and lowering that hip. Again, it's this kind of little micro movement. Subtle, especially if you're tight here. Do you get any movement, Lynn? Very little, right? Yeah. Oh, that's a piece to the puzzle. All right, so we're gonna do the opposite in our triangle. So straighten that right leg, drop that right hip down, and lift it up. So you're kind of just pivoting the hips forward and bringing them back to neutral. So if you kind of had your hands on the front of your hips, kind of fingertips just aiming out, they would just be tilting, right? These hands would be going sideways to straight. All right, let's take it back into our warrior two. Float those arms up this time. Let those shoulders relax down. Open up that knee. Stand up tall, soften the jaw. Ah, nice inhale. Exhale, gentle reverse. Just this nice flowy one. Inhaling back into our warrior two. Exhaling just a gentle side angle, right? Just so we can flow and have it be more about the movement than trying to achieve some perfect pose. When our practice is fluid like this, we have a little more freedom to not worry so much. There is no wrong movement, only when we're forcing. All right, the next time you come into warrior two, let those arms drop down, straighten out that front leg, and find a gentle triangle. That right hand can come to the shin, spin that left hip open, draw the belly in as you lengthen from the hips to the crown. Keep that core going wherever you end up. You gotta do the same thing on this side I did on the other side, Lynn, with the arm behind the back. Yep. And use that core to slowly lift you up and flip those toes to the side. It's my morning class. I'm always clearing my throat in my first class of the day. So I only do morning classes these days. All right, and let's hinge when you're ready. All right, we're gonna stop for a twist. So make sure those hips are in line with those ankles again. Walk the hands forward as far as they need to be so those wrists are right underneath the shoulders, and then plant that left palm right underneath the nose on a block or the floor and open up that right arm. Pull that left inner thigh towards the right inner thigh. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. All right, so imagine you're gonna touch this thigh to that one. You're just trying to spin open, getting into that inner thigh. Peel that right hip open. Same thing we did in our twist before. Push away from the floor, reach, and pull the shoulder open. See how far behind you can get those fingertips. Bend the knees a little. Slowly release. Other side. Take your time, straighten out those legs when you go. So find your length, push away from the floor, open up the hip. So open that left hip and then pull that left shoulder open. Try to get into that upper back. Breathe, most important part of our practice. Slowly release. Come on up to fingertips, nice inhale. Exhale, hinge. Find that stretch. Find that just right place for your body. Again, if there's something your body's craving here, I often do some side lunges here because I got inner thigh tightness and groin stuff. Feel free to play or just hang out. All right, so let's walk those hands forward again for our down dog. So hopefully you're not on a slippery surface. If you are, you might want to flip around so that your feet are off your mat maybe and your hands are on. You might have to play around with this a little bit. We're going to bring the right hand into center, left hand on top. My hand is sticking here on the floor just fine. So if you're on wood floors or even tile, you might be okay. Carpet might be a little bit of a problem. All right, draw the heels down, push on back. Draw the belly in. It's that subtle little tuck of the tailbone, just a little bit. And then shift forward, switch hands, bring that other hand on top. Subtle little tuck as you pull the hips back. Breathe. And bend the knees slightly, walk the hands towards you. Scooch the feet in a little bit. So when you rise up, you're in five-pointed star. Let's take those arms up, nice inhale. And exhale, hands to the heart. Open those toes out, bend the knees. Let's go ahead and let the hands come down for a minute and have it work from the ground up. So open those knees. See if you can lift up the toes at all so that you can start to shift the weight to the outside of the foot or find the center of the heel at least. I'd rather even have you have a little extra weight on the outside of the heel here so you can really open up those knees and then see where you can go from there. So belly button to spine again, belly button and heart to spine. So we're not back bending here. We don't want our ribs popping out. So tuck those ribs in. All right. Maybe those arms come up. Maybe they stay on the thighs. Maybe they come to the heart. Where do those hands want to be? Do they want to be in goddess pose? Or is that too much this morning? Find that breath wherever you're at. Gentle temple pose. So let that left hand come inside the thigh. Reach the right arm up. That's enough. If you want a little more, you can slide those left fingertips towards the floor. Or right, whatever I just said, whatever this arm is. And back to center, other side. I mess up my lefts and rights way more than I used to with teaching to two groups. All right, hands to the heart. Oh, give those poor thighs a break. Take those heels out. And let's widen those feet again. So when we come on down, we can spin. And come on down, hinge. Find your stretch. And bend the knees a little, spin those right toes towards the front, walk your way around, hop that back foot out to the side, and when you're ready, spring it forward. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, hinge. Okay, our hamstrings are a little more warmed up, so go ahead and start to explore this stretch to the extent that feels right and good for your body. Pivot those hips, keep that nice long spine, nice flat back. And widen the feet, so heel to those feet apart a little wider, bend the knees, and drop it on down into ragdoll. Grab those elbows if you like, but dangle. So the point of grabbing the elbows is to create a little extra weight to pull on the shoulders. So if you grab those elbows or even the kind of forearms, if you can get them, let the arms drop from there. So the hands are holding onto the arms, but that's it. That's the only thing that's active. Everything else is letting go. So just drop heavy. See if you can get that head and neck to drop towards the floor a little more. Maybe even give it a little wiggle to let you let go. Let go, let go, let go. All right, let's bring it up. However feels good for you, you can roll it up if that feels good. If that doesn't feel good, then don't do it. Come up with a flat back. Sweep those arms up when you're ready. Bend those knees, bring it to the heart. For Steffa Brown, inhale up. Exhale, draw the belly in, hinge. Keep going till you get that stretch in the backs of the legs. Half lift, bend the knees slightly, sweep those arms forward. Pause here as you reach the sitting bones towards the wall behind you. Gaze in between the heels and reach the fingertips for the wall in front of you, like you're trying to touch something right there. And then let go. Down to your ragdoll. Let the arms dangle this time. Let them just drop towards the floor. If you got really long arms and long torso like me, maybe those hands end up falling in the floor and you got to kind of cross them over so they can get heavy. Whatever works, just let them get heavy. Let's take it up slow again this time. Take your time coming up. Next time we'll come up a little faster. Stretch those arms out. When you get there, stand up tall and then bring it up into the heart. All right, let's flow with the breath. All right, nice big inhale up. Nice releasing exhale, hinge. Nice big breath. Nice big inhale overhead. Nice releasing exhale to the floor. When you're ready, big inhale up, arms come out. Nice releasing exhale to the heart, bend the knees. Good, one more time. Nice big breaths. All right, let's release those hands to the hips, open those toes out, drop that bottom on down. Use your hands if you need it for support, if you've got knee stuff. Okay, so I always have to test out, see how my knee is gonna be today, see if it can support me. And it can, no matter what you've got going on, it can support you, you just don't go down as low, right? So if you got knee stuff going on, you stop. If on a really bad knee day, this is my yoga squat. I'm way up here. I can still push those knees open. It's not the same pose, but I can get there. So just see where you can be this morning. Let it be perfect and okay. Find that breath. Push those thighs open with those elbows as you draw the hands towards the heart. Find the length from the sitting bones to the crown. Find a drishti, focal point. Even maybe close the eyes and just breathe into the pose. Shift a little from side to side if you can, if your knees will let you. Say, I can't shift to the right, so I guess. And you kind of lift your heel off a little. All right, find center, sink down, lift up, lengthen. Fingertips to the floor, lift the hips up, turn the toes forward, half lift, straighten the legs and spine, and hinge. And bend those knees, plant those palms down, step those feet back to plank. Adjust those hands to where they need to be. They might not have gotten it in the perfect place. And find that nice plank. Knees can be down here. You can get a nice effective, I'm actually gonna drop mine down just to make it easier for my back. So I can get some nice core here without straining the back. So push up, make sure those wrists are under the shoulders. Push that collarbone as far away from the floor as you can. Draw the belly in. Inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows just a little bit. And then inhale, push up. Just a little baby bend. Inhale. Really push up through that collarbone, like as far away from the floor as you can. Almost like you're trying to round right below the base of the neck when you're pushing up. All right. We're gonna come all the way down. All right, nice inhale. Into cobra. So as you come into your cobras, we're gonna come up and down with the breath. So as you come up, peel those shoulders back and down, almost like you're hugging the shoulder blades together. Pull the belly button away from the floor and squeeze the glutes when you inhale. And then come on down. Maybe all the way to the forehead. Find your rhythm, maybe even close the eyes. All right, the next time you come down, bring those hands forward for the head so the head can rest on the hands. Wiggle the hips from side to side. Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Maybe those feet kick up and you windshield wipe the feet from side to side if that feels good. If not, don't do it too much. All right, let's bring those hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. All right, let's push those hips back. Toes are tucked. Get those big toes nice and tucked under. Soften the jaw. Lift the ribs up away from the thighs just a little as you draw the belly in and pull those hips back. Okay, walk the hands forward. You can let the toes stay tucked or you can rest the feet down. It's up to you. You can play around with that. I like mine tucked. Right hand into center, left hand on top, just like we did in our wide-legged down dog. Scoop the tailbone under, so tuck that belly way up into the spine and pull the hips back. Let my feet rest down now. Keep that subtle little tuck of the tailbone. We don't want to hyperextend into the shoulders. It's not bad to. We're just trying to get a little different stretch here. Okay, lift up, shift forward, switch hands. Bring that other hand on top. Tuck, pull back. Keep that breath going. And shift forward until you can get the elbows down and interlace the fingers. And then scooch those knees forward so you can get the knees right underneath the hips once again. Okay, press away from the floor. Tuck the toes and lift the knees up. So a little bit of space in between the feet. You can even go wide with them if you like. Push up, push back. So look back at the ankles, push away from the floor as you push back. So we're trying to keep the head as far away from the floor as we can. You can come into prayer here with the hands if you like that variation. I love that variation. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, just like we do in down dog, especially the bottom inside edge. Imagine that you're trying to get them to touch. Push up, push back, squeeze, breathe. Shift forward and drop the knees down to the floor. Inch the elbows back into child's pose. Bring those arms along the sides. Let them drop. All right, so this is going to be a little different for everybody depending on what you got going on. So, you know, if you can't grab your heels, then you're just going to use your hands on the floor outside your knees. Okay, so if you can reach back and easily grab your heels, lift up off your thighs and tuck on in, curl into a tight little ball and bring the top of your head to the floor. Okay, that stick that's in my hair is not really working for me right now. It's not working. All right, and then just roll forward a little bit. So again, this is not for everybody. It's not working, right? So some of you are going to have your hands on the floor, kind of outside your knees, and lift up, tuck in to get the very top of your head, the crown of your head, the tip top of your head on the floor, and then roll forward a little bit. And just breathe there. It's like you're trying to squish your chin, the backside of your chin, into your collarbone. And then slowly release and come back into child's pose. All right, so we're working towards Shashangasana, rabbit pose. So we don't do it very often. And I want you guys to be really conscious with it. I gotta take the stick out of my hair in order to do it. All right, so let's roll up and come into tabletop. Okay, because we want to make sure we're on the top of that head, so it's a little easier to get here. So walk your hands back so they're not quite in tabletop. Round out and tuck in like we did before. Come down. You want your hips over your knees. So as you come down, kind of look back, make sure you might have to move your head forward a little so that when you're on the very top of your head, your hips are over your knees. Okay, keep your hands on the floor right outside your ears or your cheeks. And just gently roll forward a little bit. Only as far as feels good. Again, imagine that you're trying to push the very back side of your chin into your collarbone. And then slowly release. Slowly lift the head. Don't lift the head, just lift it off the floor and come into tabletop. So don't look up yet. And just come into a neutral tabletop and shift the hips from side to side. And then make a circle with your hips. And then come back to neutral. Look towards the left. Look towards the right. Tuck the chin, lift the chin. So now we can work into our cows and cats. Wanted to release that neck a little bit before we started moving it this much. All right, we're gonna come into that one more time. So those of you, I'm gonna give you one more option. It's pretty intense, so I really want you to listen here. If you decide to try it today and you've never tried it before and it feels awful, just put your hands right back down to where we just had them, okay? So for those of you that haven't done this, take a moment to watch, right? We're getting right back to where we were. So we're tucking in, top of the head's on the floor, hips are over the knees, hands interlaced behind. If you get here and you're like, that is too much pressure on the top of my head, it's too much pressure on my neck, bring your hands right back down and just roll forward like we did before. If that's feeling okay, then you're gonna work on squeezing the shoulder blades together and lifting the arms away as you gently, slowly roll forward. It's a lot. Shashangasana. These arms extended over our rabbit ears. If your hands are up, shift back a little bit until you can get your hands down to the floor for support. Slowly lift the head up off the floor, but don't look forward. Keep looking down at the floor. Coming back into our neutral tabletop. Shift the hips from side to side. Do a little hip circle. Other direction. Okay, and this time we're gonna kind of make a gentle C shape out of the right side of our body. So look around over that right shoulder and look for your right hip. And then the other side. And one more time each side. And come back to center tabletop. Tuck your chin, come into cat. And then see if cow feels okay. Lift that head slowly. Good, and downward facing dog. So let that head really relax here in down dog. Give it a little wiggle, move it around. Just fine, cross-legged. Any variation that feels right, but something where your butt is on the floor, not up on a prop, so we can find movement. Right, and so it can be kind of this pushed forward variation where we're in like a mini fire log almost, if that feels okay. And then pull those hips forward, find your cow. Okay, so pull the hips forward, lengthen, lift the heart up, squeeze the shoulder blades together as you lift the chin. Get into that upper back. Breathe. Chin comes in first, slowly, intentionally, then the upper back, middle back, lower back. Hips into cat. And find that long spine. Take a nice big inhale, get tall, and twist to either side. Just close those eyes, stay centered right over the hips. Find the breath. Roll that shoulder open. So that backhand isn't really supporting us. We're using it to help the shoulder open. So the weight should be in the hips and the sitting bones, not in the hand behind you. Not that there's none. Come on up, or come on back to center. Inhale up and exhale the other side. Taking a moment, finding that twist. Close those eyes, tune in. What's going on here? Keep that breath going. And come on back, reach the right arm up, take a nice big inhale. Exhale, come on over into your side bend and think about how close to the floor can you get that. Actually, let's bring the right arm down for a second. Just bring it down and see how close you can get that left shoulder or elbow to the floor. And then bring the right arm up, reach. Hand is however it feels it needs to be. And then slowly bring it closer, not letting that shoulder roll forward at all. Keep that breath going. Draw the belly in, use your core, and use that left hand to kind of help push you up. So let's keep that arm down, that left arm down as we explore that right shoulder, coming into our side bend in our torso, letting it be about the side bend first, and then the side body stretch. So bring that arm up, take your time, keep breathing. And again, use your core and use that right hand to help lift you up. Nice inhale into cow. Squeeze those shoulder blades, lift that heart. Exhale, cat. And back to center. So let's switch legs. If you're in cross-legged, if you're in kneeling, obviously you can stay there. All right, let's bring that left arm up and bring the hand behind the back. So just kind of inch that hand down the back and then draw the belly in, reach up and grab that elbow. Pull the elbow back, draw that solar plexus in, because as soon as we pull that elbow in, we tend to pop forward. So really pull in through that solar plexus as you pull the elbow back and gently pull the elbow towards center. It's hard to do that and not let the ribs pop out. Close your eyes for a moment or find a drishti, find the breath. This is plenty. If you want a little more, you can come into a side bend over to the right. Head turns to the left. Whew, there it is. Keep that breath going. Slowly come back to center. So once you come out of this in a particular way, so bring your right hand down first, bring your left elbow forward, and then down. And then the other side. So take your time. Don't forget that those ribs pop out. So pull them back. If you're tight in these hips and you have trouble sitting in cross-legged, now you could hop up on a block, a flat block, if that helps those hips stay put. Should have said that before, right? Now I say it right, Jody. She's like, gee, you could have mentioned that last time. Pull those ribs in, reach up through the elbow, bring it towards center as you pull it back. Keep pulling those ribs in. Even mine, when it's really, I really have to work on it to not let those ribs pop out. And then if you came into the side bend, on the other side, breathe, breathe, breathe. Most important part of our practice. Again, slowly. Releasing in steps, left hand first, and the right elbow comes forward and down. Give those shoulders a little roll. All right, stretch those arms out to a T. Wrap that, or cross that left elbow over the right. Hug the elbows close and see if you can cross them over a little bit more, like you're trying to make an X way up in your upper arm. So you're trying to get your elbows past each other. Then squish them together as you bend, palms facing out, and slowly draw the backs of the hands towards each other. And see if those right fingertips can grab the inside of the thumb or even just the tip of the thumb. Ooh, if you turn the left palm towards you and turn the right palm towards you, you might be able to touch the palms that way. That might make it a little bit easier. Some of you can wrap right up. Okay, draw the belly in, pull those ribs in, slowly. Keep the hands close to the forehead as you lift the elbows up. And then maybe those hands come forward a little bit, maybe not. Keep pulling in through the ribs, keep sitting up tall. This is plenty. If you want a little extra stretch in the upper back, slowly bring the back of the chin into the throat or the collarbone. Head lifts if it's tucked. Hands come towards you, elbows drop down, unwind, stretch it out. Other side. So the more we can get those arms crossed over, the better. Wiggle them in, keep them close. If they're far away, it's hard to get them wound up. And if the palms facing you helps you get the hands a little closer together, then go with that variation. Right. Maybe they flip around. Okay, keep the hands close as you sit up tall and start to lift the elbows. Elbows don't go higher than the shoulders. And then maybe those hands move forward over the elbows, maybe not. Sit up tall, find that length, and then maybe draw the back of the chin towards the throat. So we don't want to just drop the head and tuck the chin. We want to pull it in as we're tucking. Lift the head if it's tucked, bring the hands close, drop the elbows down, unwind, stretch it out, go behind. If you want to switch across the legs or come into kneeling or a different pose for the legs, feel free if the seat is not comfortable for you anymore. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, push through the knuckles. So if you're really tight here, your elbows are not going to come straight, that's fine. Push away. See how close you can get the shoulders behind you. Squeezing those shoulder blades together, and then maybe those arms lift up, maybe not. You don't have to squeeze the hands together either. Like you can have the hands kind of apart and you're just squishing the fingers together as well. They don't have to squeeze together. Okay, if you want, you can lean back a little till those hands can touch the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, push away from the floor, and push the heart and chin up to the sky. Slowly release from wherever you're at. Give those shoulders a little roll. All right, one more stretch here. So let's interlace those fingers behind. Okay, so sit up nice and tall. Ooh, ha, ha. I gotta go have my SI joint checked out. There's something going on there. All right, sit up tall. And we're pushing the very tip of the back of the chin towards the voice box. So it might kind of end up more of the notch of the collarbone, but we don't want to let it drop. So bring that chin, push. You're kind of using the hands on the head to push the chin into the throat as you sit up tall. Okay, we're gonna go in and out of this. Bring your elbows together before you come out of it, like you're trying to get them to touch in front of you. Bring the elbows apart, lift the head and chin. So lift that chin up. Head is kind of resting and cradling in the hands. Inhale, exhale, squeeze, and pull. Find the rhythm, close the eyes so you can tune into this. Keep that long spine. Don't let the upper back round when you do that stretch. All right, the next time you inhale, finish there. Bring the head to neutral and release on down. Come on down onto the back. Knees to chest. Bring those knees on in, give a little rock. Think about anything else that might feel good for your body in this moment. What else does your body need? Maybe a reclined butterfly. So just taking a moment, giving the body what it wants and needs. And then thinking about where the body wants to be for your final relaxation. So maybe it's good old traditional Shavasana this morning. Maybe it's legs up the wall. Maybe it's time for something different this morning. Maybe it's time for legs up the wall. So take a moment to settle in. Find that just right place for your body. Grab whatever you need. Remembering that comfort is key here in our final relaxation. And give yourself this gift of just a few minutes of letting go. Find the breath. Take a nice big inhale. Feel it fill you up. And then let it go, all of it. One more big breath and really exaggerate that exhale. And then come to a breath. Maybe you start with a nice, slow, long, deep breath to really feel the breath in the body. Belly is fully relaxed. The whole body is starting to relax more and more with each breath. So maybe you're starting off with this really nice, big, deep belly breath to really get you tuned into the breath. When we take these deep, long breaths, it triggers our parasympathetic nervous system. So it's a key to our final relaxation practice, is connecting with this breath. So take a moment to let the breath settle into a place that feels right for you in this moment. Some of you want a nice, long, slow breath. Some of you might want a really easy, gentle breath. And let's find Samavriti with wherever that breath is at for you. So even breathing. So if you're taking just these nice, easy, shorter breaths, maybe your count is only 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Inhale, trying to match the inhale and the exhale. If you're taking those longer, slower breaths, maybe you get as high as 8. Some people call this the elevator breath, just going up and coming right back down. Maybe adding definitely adding that count so you can stay even. Maybe even adding a visualization of just this up and this down. Or tuning into the expansion, contraction, Samavriti, even breathing. So I'm going to offer one more layer to this for those of you that want it, Kumbhaka, breath retention. So if you've got a nice little breath going and you're like around a 3 or 4 on your count, you're just going to pause for 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's this little baby rectangle. If you're taking a bigger breath, then maybe your pause is 2 instead of 1. Okay. So let it be easy so that it's just a pause of the breath. So you're not clenching, you're not clinging, you're not holding. It's just just pushing the pause button before the next breath. So inhaling to whatever count works great for you right now. Pausing for the count of 1 or 2. Exhaling for that longer count, whatever your inhale was. And then once again, pausing for the count of 1 or 2. So find a rhythm that works for you. Okay, so I'm going to offer one more thing here. Take it or leave it. Skip all of this together and just go to whatever breath feels good for you. Go to whatever place you need to. But I'll invite you to now add a mantra instead of counting on the inhale. And let it be on the inhale something, a positive word, positive feeling, anything that feels right for you. It could be joy, peace, love, gratitude, compassion, whatever you feel like you want to breathe in this moment. And when you pause and feel it. What does it feel like to be filled up with that thing? What would it feel like if you could just be filled up with gratitude. And then on your exhale, what would you like to let go of? What are you holding in your body and mind this morning that you would like to release? And again, on the pause, what does it feel like to release that? So for example, inhaling joy. As I pause, I feel the joy. Exhaling fear. Pausing, feeling what it feels like to be free of that fear, or whatever your 2 words are. And again, if this is just too much for you this morning, you don't want to work that hard in your Shavasana, and you just want to relax and breathe and just be, feel free to come to a different place if this isn't working for you this morning. Each breath, regardless of whether you're working with this rectangle breath mantra or not, each breath is helping the body and mind relax a little more, helping your parasympathetic nervous system engage more and more with each breath. As the mind wanders, as it often does, just bring it back to that breath. And whatever method you're using in this moment, let it go now. Let the mind empty, let the breath go. Feel the body sink into the floor that last little bit, and just be. And then bring awareness back to the body, just noticing how the body feels in this moment. Slowly allowing movement to make its way back in whatever way feels right and good for you. Taking time, taking care, stretching, wiggling, moving. Eventually stretching, wiggling, moving your way upright to seated. Keep your eyes closed if you can on your journey, and take your time getting there. There's no rush. Eventually, when you do arrive and seated, allow those hands to land at heart center. Find that long spine. Tucking the chin as we find our breath once again, this time here at the heart center. Allowing the corners of the lips to lift upward towards the ears. Let that smile come onto your face. Let something good fill up this heart space in this moment. Joy, gratitude, peace, thanksgiving, whatever makes the corners of those lips lift naturally. Breathe it in. Take a nice big inhale right here at the heart. And bowing down, bowing to yourself. Say thank you. Thank you to yourself for showing up here on your mat, for taking this time for you and coming all the way to this end point.